Hi guys, welcome back to Ted Redwood FM. I am Ed, and today we are doing our 10 seasons into the future with FC Oss. So we are 20 years into the FM18 save, and I want to see how Oss have done in my absence, see if the AI has absolutely destroyed them, or if they've led them to some kind of relative success. To give a quick bit of background, my manager actually resigned pretty much straight after the last video. I sent him to retire at the end of the season, so all the staff responsibilities were taken out of my hands. Then retired on something like the 2nd of July 2027 or something like that. We'll see that in a minute. But yeah, so everything from mid-May has really been down to the AI, so we'll see what they've done with my beloved Oss. I hate doing this so early, but I'm terrible at it. So if you are looking forward to the video and you enjoy what you see on my channel so far, please do drop a like and a sub. It really helps me out. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So to be completely honest, I have had a very little gander, just some of the really basic stuff, and so I'm not hugely surprised. But this season in 2037, Oss have finished second in the Eredivisie, but we left here, this 2026 to 2027 season, we finished first. They've won the league every single season since then, apart from this season, so a further 9 in a row added to our 3 in a row we had. So they've won 12 league titles in a row. Given it up this year though, which is a real disappointment for Oss. This is going to load eventually, isn't it? And we are in completely the wrong place. Let's go to the league table. They actually lost it on goal difference to Vitesse with some really low numbers in terms of points in the league as well. So even final, we're back in with a shout here. I don't know if there's any surprise in terms of the league. I severely doubt it, but yeah, here you go. I mean, we won up to that third one. It's crazy how Oss have dominated. So I'm interested to see the sort of legacy of the players we left. We did leave a lot of players in the reserves out on loan. There was a good 40, 50 players in the reserves, and most of the players in the starting team were also pretty young as well, bar Michael Marta. So let's dig into some of the Oss players and see if there's anyone familiar at all. Let's filter it by position, and looking at it, there is nobody that sticks out there at all. What about the reserves? This is quite small, and again, nobody there sticks out in the slightest, but you'd expect that with players' ages at like 22 or so when we're 10 years further along. So what we want to do is quickly just see, I want to have a look at the managers. So we left, the 2nd of July 2027. They were then followed up then with Paulo Fonseca, who then resigned from his role for whatever reason. He retired eventually as staff. Can we see? No, we can't see. It's a lot of effort once they retire because it's not very well laid out in my opinion. But he was at Oss, then resigned to manage England actually, and then I think he retired after that. So fair play to him. Gone to get the England job. Then followed up with Prince Azubonteng, who is now manager of Inter. So we went from Oss to Inter after 2 league wins in a row, and then the further 4 league wins in a row came from Henk Veerman, who looks like he is a player of, or was a player of sorts, because I mean, yeah, he would have been 26 at the start of the save. He looks ancient as it is, which is crazy. So where did he start out? He starts at Heerenveen. He managed a couple of minor teams in the Netherlands, then Zwolle, then Oss, and he has recently gone to Manchester City. So the managers who have gone to Oss have then had a decent career afterwards by the looks of things. So happy days there. What I'm going to look at is competition history. So obviously they've won all these Eredivisie now, finished as runners-up once, third place once, that was my one. So since 2025 they've been in the top 2 of the Eredivisie. Unfortunately, one of those is second place, but it is what it is. They've won the KNVB Becker a further 3 times after we left, so we retained it in that season. They finished runners-up in the season as well. The Johan Cruyff Schal, they've been in pretty much every season by the looks of things, finishing runners-up the season we left and the season after we left, but then have won it every single season since then, so that's decent. And then European trophies at none, but they did finish as a Europa League runners-up in 2030, which I do want to have a look at. We obviously, the closest we got to any kind of European trophy was the semi-final against Bayern Munich in our last season in charge. So that's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter out no competition, Upper League, the Becker, the Eredivisie, and the Schal. So we got Europa League and Champions League. So in the first season, after we departed, fell out of the Champions League, lost. Well, no, they got through to the knockout round of Champions League, lost to PSG. Following season, got through to the knockout round again, lost to Chelsea. Season after that is the season they got to the Europa League final. So they're in the Champions. Oh, they're going to be in Champions League every season, basically. Beat Galatasaray, or fell out that group. Beat Galatasaray, Fiorentina, Inter, and Porto over 2 legs to get to the final against Real Madrid. And unfortunately, we can't see any information, which is really annoying. But a 1-0 loss looks like it's quite a tight one. So it's a shame they couldn't win that. But there you go. I'm not overly surprised without me at the helm, which is really big-headed. Following season, knockout round, exit the Champions League. Season after that, second knockout round of the Europa League, lost to Southampton. Didn't even get out of the group in 32-33. Got to the quarter-final in 33-34, so that's as close as they've got in terms of Champions League to what we did. Losing out to Leverkusen over 2 legs. There's a lot of games against Chelsea in here, I've noticed, in the Champions League as well. And then 34-35, Real Madrid in the knockout round, they went out to. Didn't get out of the group in 35-36, and then this last season for them, so they finished second in the Eredivisie. They went out of the Champions League group in 3rd place, and then didn't even get past Benfica in the first knockout round of the Europa League, so a bit of a nightmare for Oss. So let's have a look at Oss's reputation. I've gone for Europe rather than World. I know there will be some higher up in World, but really Europe's sort of where a lot of the powers to be are. I was just looking for Oss on this first page, thinking they should be there somewhere, seeing as they've won 13 league titles in a row, however many it was, 12 before finishing second. But you have to go all the way down to here to see them. I don't have the numbers here, which is perhaps really stupid. But yeah, not good really, is it? Right at the bottom of that first page. So even Newcastle and West Brom are ahead of them in terms of reputation, which is an absolute shocker. I'd like to think if we were still in charge, we would have got up here somewhere. Like, I genuinely believe we're on our way to winning Champions League and European football, but it is what it is. I gave up, so that's my own problem. The AI hasn't done an awful lot with facilities. I think we left the stadium when they were going to upgrade it to something like 24,000 or something like that. So it looks like they're upgrading it again by 7,900, so about 8,000 seats. They're going up to something like a 35,000 seater stadium. So it's taken them 11 years to go up about 11,000, so an extra 1,000 seats a year or so. But good to see the training facilities and youth facilities finally went through. It took its time. I mean, we requested that back in like 2024 and saw no progress over 3 years, which is a nightmare, but someone's finally got it and made the most of it, which is nice. And to be honest, one of the last things I want to look at, I'll look at some of the key transfers soon as well. But I'm not really big on going through just every single league and seeing what has happened. I can't really do that unaided, so if anyone does see this and wants to see that, please do drop a comment, let me know what you want to see. I can make a separate video on it. But otherwise, I'm going to look at some of the key players that played for me, basically, see how they got on, and then we'll go through some transfers after that. Obviously, Nicolas Zuniga ended up as a legend at the club. He's ended up at Liverpool, which is not so surprising he left. He actually left the season after we left for £64 million. So signed him for 525, 2 seasons later worth 64 million. And it looks like he's had a decent career at Anfield, playing a lot of games, perhaps not scoring as much as I thought he might do, but he's been a good servant at Anfield, so fair play to him. He's happy enough. I feel like he could have improved a lot more than that, but perhaps held back by training facilities when he was a little younger. Obviously, I'm in the legend section, which we all know, but will ignore me. Now, onto the icons. We've got Arne Brekke Gretsen, who is at FC Midtjylland, worth 10k. So he left us in our second to last season for Valencia, who he then went on to beat in the Champions League that season. He spent a long time at Valencia, not really making a huge amount of appearances or scoring many goals before a spell at Benevento and then at Midtjylland. So he looks like he's winding down his career now. He was a superb player, just never quite got the best out of him. Looks like he's still got some decent attributes. This is where attribute masking is a nightmare. But yeah, it's a shame he didn't quite hit the heights once he got his big move. Ronaldo also down as an icon and is at Spurs. So after FC Oss, so he actually stayed with them for a while. So we only had him for a season. He stayed with them for a further 3 seasons, making a load of appearances. 19 assists in that final season. I don't know what position he was playing, but that is incredible stuff. 7.46 average before he moved to Stoke for 34 million, and then a season later he moved to Spurs for 60. And he's been there since. He's been there a number of years. Looks like a real key player there. In terms of caps, he's got 43 caps for Brazil. I was hoping for more, but yeah, really good player. I wish I had him for longer. Darren Kane is now an assistant manager. Never really broke into the Palermo team after we sold him there. Looks like he started to make some appearances in Serie B, but that's about it. And then he he went to the Jupiler League in Belgium, which is their top division. So he went to Ghent there. Actually scored a decent amount of goals before moving to LA Galaxy and FC Dallas on free transfers. That is a 5.94 over 31 games. Is absolutely appalling. So yeah, I really thought he was on for big things, but I mean, definitely not as an assistant manager. That is terrible. Vit Rahak looks like he did not develop at all after we left. He didn't really develop much for us. I wish he developed more, but our training facilities were shocking, as I'm going to keep saying. So our final season, we actually loaned him out to Hoffenheim because I thought they've got better facilities. They'll do better than we can with him. He then moved to Feyenoord, Victoria Pilsen, Porto, and Kopenhagen. So he's been a bit of a nomadic player in that time. Stayed at Kopenhagen for a number of years now. Looks like he's found his level. He's back to sort of form we had him at. I mean, 7.73, 7.61. Just crazy because you're still a teenager at that time. Perhaps he played too much too young, but looks like he's found his home now and probably closing on retirement. Oh, he's only 29. That was a bit of a misfire. Lucas Cabrera is at Chelsea. This is a player you may not have seen a huge amount of, but he's described as a legendary attacking midfielder, so it makes me feel like I might have made a mistake by not playing him more. He actually signed in 25-26 for 3 million. We loaned him out to Atalanta. I think we signed him right at the end of this 25-26 season, so I think he came in between like the June and July, and then we loaned him out in his only season that we would have had him for to Atalanta to get some experience, so maybe we couldn't have done much else. He then stayed at Oss for 4 years, became an icon, scored 20, I mean, I don't know if he was a striker or an attacking mid at that point, but I had him as an attacking mid. I was training up to be a centre mid, as you can probably see from his position up here. But yeah, some disgusting numbers in terms of assists and goals overall. Then got moved to Dortmund for 48 million before moving to Chelsea for 91, where he's been just intense for years. So really unearthed a gem there for £3 million, and glad to see that Oss made a load of money from him. And he looks crazy, absolutely crazy. Final name on the icon list is Michael Marta, who we are not going to be able to see anything for, which is devastating. We've got this basic stuff here. So yeah, we signed him from Naval. We had him for 8 full seasons. Scored 133 goals in 214 games. Looks like he stayed an extra season beyond our time there. Went to Ukraine, where he scored 78 goals in 159 at Shakhtar. So shout out to Kyoto Gaming for his team on YouTube, signing up one of my favourite players ever in FM. Before he saw out the rest of his career at Olympic D, which is a funny name, in Ukraine, again scoring a load of goals. So overall, it says here, I think this is just league stuff to be fair, 415 games, 229 goals. He really was just an out-and-out goal scorer, retired at 34, and richly deserved rest, bless him. And then looking at favoured personnel, there's only one player there who I had, which is Gonzalo Suarez. I think favoured personnel moves around a lot more than the other ones because obviously players come and go. But Gonzalo Suarez was around for our final season. We had him a little bit before that, obviously. He went on loan to Heracles. He was a bit of a bit part player, rotation player up front with Michael Marta in that final season. But I guess after Zuniga left, you'd be looking at, and then Michael Marta. I can't believe he's only a favoured personnel having been there for that many years, but it looks like he didn't score too many goals overall, especially in the league. And a few years ago returned to San Lorenzo for 3.3 million, so still made a profit on him, which is crazy. But he's gone back home to San Lorenzo, so that's quite nice. A 2-club man, really, ignoring loans. And then finally, I'm just going to quickly jump through some of the transfers that stick out. Obviously, with 9 full years of league success and some cup success as well, and getting to the Europa League final, The AI hasn't completely ruined Oss. I'd like to think that's because of some of the foundations we put in. Like I said, we were signing a load of players, and even young players were coming in a couple of years into the future when we left. So I'd be interested to see who has brought them in the money to allow them to carry on being competitive. So the start of the 27-28 season, you can see, I mean, wow, 209 million brought in, 58 million spent. So this is the season after we left, and there are a number of key players I can see leaving here. So Manoz went to Liverpool, which is interesting. He's still there as well, so he's been there for like 10 years now. So he's there with Zuniga from the off. Only £10 million, which is an absolute aberration because he was a wonder kid when we had him. Superb player for us for that one season that he really played. I mean, he was there for 2 seasons, but yeah, he was big in that second season. Actually spent a little time at Arsenal on loan as well, but I guess he still would have been about like 22 at that point, so that's not overly surprising. But looks like he's not necessarily first choice at Liverpool, but always been in and around the starting 11. Obviously, we've seen that Zuniga went for 44 million, rising to 64. Julio Cesar went to Arsenal. He has since gone to Sevilla. It looks like he didn't play at Arsenal at all, really. 9 million spent. Made 3 appearances over 2 seasons before going to Sevilla and has been there ever since. Did he ever get capped by Spain? He did. He's got 14 caps. So it just shows what a decent keeper he was. Really solid, and that's all I ever want from a keeper. So glad to see that he eventually made his name in international football. Edgar Ferrez also left in that same window. It looks like it all happened within a week or so of each other. Yeah, pretty much 10 days. Edgar Ferrez went to Stoke and has been there ever since. Always in the Premier League, yep, and for the most part, first few seasons looked like he's pretty integral. It sort of drifted after that, but still in and around the squad. Never quite got to the potential, but still a decent enough squad player. A 44.5 million departure in the same season. In fact, before the season even started, so you lost a good 6 or so players, maybe even more. I haven't looked yet before the season got underway. Carlos Romero, our massive, tall, pacey left winger, right-footed left winger, still got the speed at the age of 33, bless him. But he went to Bayern Munich, so didn't make an appearance in that season after we left. Went to Bayern Munich, played a decent amount, but nothing too fancy. He'd done the same at Man U, really, never really been a starter, but then went on for 75 million to them, so obviously rated. It looks like he's never quite reproduced on the highest level, but I genuinely think we had him at that highest level. He was an absolute monster. Some of the stuff he did in the match engine was ridiculous. 7.79 I don't think does him justice at all, but yeah, still rolling in money. Not as big of a fee, it's only a couple million, but one of my favourites, Jerome Verheyen, actually left for 2 million as well before that season really kicked off. He played a game for us, then went to Lierre and has sort of just been around everywhere. I just loved him. He just performed well above his level, so sad to see he never really made it anywhere. And I'm just looking down here at some of the other transfers that have gone through before the season even kicked off. So some youngsters there, all sorts of players. Stanek was a youngster coming through. Martinez was out on loan, as was Battaglia, Trebelsi, Mario Reyes, who was a really good defensive mid, Mexican defensive mid. All gone. Juan Pablo Leiva went out on loan. Buzek went to PSG for £29 million. So Zuniga's foil up front for that final season. We spent big money to bring him in. We spending big wages. He was our top earner by far. Made 4 appearances the following season, and then upped and left to PSG for 29, then to Inter for 43.5, end up at Roma for 3, and then has, wow, he's playing just playing the Championship this season. What an absolute waste of his talents. But at least he had a few big moves and actually played for these clubs as well, so fair play to him. But Michael Marta, that's where he left to Shakhtar. Obviously we've had a look at him, so 4.8 million. A decent going from him. This guy, this Christian Uzki guy, we actually signed on a free from Man U. He was coming in the summer, so only spent half a season at Oss before going to Spurs for 33 million. So just forever making money. The only one I'm really interested in terms of ins, there's only one player throughout this I'm interested in terms of ins, and that's Hans Bruns Slot. Did actually go to Oss in the end. I left it up to the future manager to deal with, and they signed him up. I guess Julio Cesar left and they needed someone, so they did spend the £33 million needed to release him from his contract at Vitesse. For a keeper, that's incredible. He's still a wonder kid at the time. He was only about 20 or 21. He stayed for a season, then went to PSG for 44 and has been a mainstay ever since. And this kind of justifies why I was tracking him. 30 years old. He's about to turn 31, but look at him. I don't feel stupid for tracking him now for so long, and I think I would have been justified in spending 33 million. 136 caps, a legendary goalkeeper. Good to see it worked out for him, even though he had his spell after we left. Milan Prazak went to Monaco and is now at Benfica. So defensive mid, centre mid, was a wonder kid for a little bit, but then unfortunately our facilities were crap, so he never ended up doing too much or improving too much. Went to Monaco for 21 million, PSG a season later for 30, and then to Benfica a few years later for 23 million. So just, yeah, conveyor belt of cash basically. Then players like Almiron, who left for something up to 8 million. Suzini looks like he signed after being on loan with us. He left for 13 million. Burnett for 4.1. Slot obviously went for 44. Boghosian went for 37 million to Dortmund. Has ended up at Spurs, as seems to be the way. So he's with Ronaldo now, bless him. Sounds like he's dead the way I described that. But 37 million to Dortmund, now at Spurs. So we did leave a load of talent. Thomas Patrick, who hardly ever played for us, constantly out on loan, now at Shakhtar. But looks like he finally got a bit of a role within the squad. Then went to Schalke for 28 million. Is now at Shakhtar. He just had a season there. But this guy I could have made a lot more of. We signed him for $1 million. We made 3.4 million in loan fees. He developed really nicely. We just never really had a spot for him, but it looks like he developed well enough. Only got 14 caps for the Netherlands though, which is a disappointment. And I've lied, I am focusing on one more player who did come in because he eventually left. I don't know when he left, so we'll encounter him eventually. But Edwin Diaz, I arranged this long before I left, but he was about 14 when I found him in Colombia or something stupid. Came in when he was 18 for 625,000. Didn't make many appearances, went out on loan a couple times, then went to Fiorentina on loan, then spent finally a full season at Oss scoring goals, and then left for 34 million. And he has just signed this season for Southampton for £114 million. So he definitely was an upgrade on Zuniga, and only 26 years old. So crazy. I wish I had the chance to actually play him. And even up to 3 seasons after us, you can still see players that I brought in and never played going and making money for Oss. So Ibrahim Fofana, who was with us for a season and out on loan, went to Newcastle for 7.25 million. Jackson Gonzalez, who kept going out on loan, eventually went to Dortmund for 24 million, has since gone on to Cologne and Juventus. Still only 29 years old, decent Colombian centre-back, so we really set him up for a number of years. I mean, this season spent 51, brought in 66. Those numbers are just incredible for the Eredivisie. And obviously looking at them down here, 164 million brought in the 30-31 season. And you can see why. And actually, this is a name I wasn't expecting to see at all. James Martin went to Manchester United for how much? 34 million. And since Monaco since paid 23 million for him, Chelsea just bought him for 71. So he was one, we had an arrangement with FFA COE. I decided to bring him in. I think he had something like 3.5 star potential. Looks like he hardly played for Oss at all. In fact, he never really played for Oss. Played a couple of games, but that's it. Went on to Genoa, had a moderate season at best. Then Man U decided to spend that much money on him. So, I mean, he was free as well. That is crazy. And obviously you follow that up with someone like, I mean, that guy I never heard of, who they sold for 7 million, but Lucas Cabrera, that was the season he left. Ronaldo left that season as well, so 2 massive fees there. Then Mark Cruz, or Kroes, however you want to say it, 26 million, and he's at Spurs as well. So he went to Inter Milan for 26, then Real Madrid for 57, then Spurs for 40. He was just one we brought in and just never really got around to developing, so we just let him go on loan a few times. Clearly developed quite nicely for those teams to shell out that amount of money on him. Elite centre-back, so justifying my praise for him. 31-32, Stefan Biles left for 26 million to Monaco, now at Dortmund. I think he was a wonder kid at one point as well. Did pretty well and looks really solid, so I'm not surprised that that amount of money came in. In addition, Paulo Cesar, did we ever have you? No, we didn't have Paulo Cesar. I'm just making things up now, aren't I? But even up to 32, 33, so this is 6 seasons after we departed now, there are players leaving who I recognise. So Michael Spann, who we brought in, and he never really played for us at all, but never really, I mean, literally never. We left here, so they got some loan fees for him. Oh, okay, so he came back. That's interesting. So they sold him for 1.4 million to Vitesse, who sold him to Ajax, who sold him back to Oss for 8, who then sold him to Brentford. He's then been to Everton and Dynamo Kiev. So he's had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Oss and just never really done much. But so he came in and left. In addition, Romain Roger looks like nothing ever really came of him at all. He actually doesn't look too bad. We brought him in as a really young man from Laval, who we had an affiliate partnership with. Never actually played 4 games for Oss, and then had a loan spell at VVV, and then left for Toulouse and is now with Olympiacos. And this is probably the last of the big seasons in terms of players that we recognise leaving. So Edwin Diaz, like we mentioned, the young Colombian, left for Leverkusen, 34.5 million in the 33-34 season. Karavic left for Barcelona. I'm surprised he hung around for so long. He was playing second fiddle to Romero in that first year, but I guess he got his chance after he left. Went to Barcelona for 34 million. And then Gonzalo Suarez went back home to San Lorenzo, and then Juan Pablo Leiva went to Feyenoord for only a few £100K, which I think is a massive waste because he was really awesome. He never played for us at all, which is a shock. But I guess when you bring a £33 million keeper for a season, he's not going to play that year at least. So that is it in terms of transfers that we recognise. I'm just going to jump quickly to Premier League, see what's been going on, and probably check European football as well very quickly. Southampton actually won the league this year, probably inspired by their £114 million signing of Edwin Diaz. So good to see he's got a Premier League winners medal. I'm going to take all the credit for that. But yeah, Southampton finally winning a league, but nothing else crazy has really happened in this save apart from that. Perhaps the only other thing to note is the title's only been retained twice during the whole course of the save, which is incredible. So in the space of about 30 years, it's been retained a total of 4 or 5 times, all by Man U as well. Champions League winners look incredibly normal, as they tend to do in my opinion on FM2018, sorry. So all the standard names appeared in our first 10 seasons, then Madrid, City, Leverkusen, United, all winning it from there. Perhaps the only slightly strange name to appear anywhere really is Rennes, or however you want to pronounce that, Ron? I don't know. But yeah, they finished as runners-up this season, just gone. But you generally tend to find a slightly odd French club doing pretty well in Football Manager, just because they end up getting into the Champions League because there's 2 big teams and the rest are sort of, there's a few similar ones. So I think previously I've seen teams like Toulouse getting through to the Champions League and doing pretty well, but on this edition it's Rennes apparently. Europa League winners still look kind of similar as well, actually. You can see Oss got their runners-up medals in the 29-30 season. So after we left, Leipzig, Lyon, Madrid, Liverpool, Spurs, Rennes, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U and Juventus all winning the Europa League. Any strange runners-up? Kind of, but not particularly as well. So for a number of years, well, we've had quite a few different Spanish ones actually. So Athletic Bilbao, Sociedad and Espanyol all finishing as runners-up. Again, maybe slightly odd, but not out of the realms of possibility in the slightest, unfortunately. The World Cup has been pretty basic as well. So we last found out that Germany had won 2026, Italy won 30, Brazil 34. Croatia finished as runners-up again, sorry, so it's interesting, but no one overly peculiar there. And perhaps not surprising, given their success at the World Cup, Croatia won the most recent European Championships, with Serbia finishing as runners-up. Sweden won it in 2032, which seems a bit soon, so maybe that's one of the only shocks of the whole save, really. England had some success in 2020. The final thing I want to do, because I'm not going to add a manager in to check player prices, is just look at leading transfers of all time. So the 114 million for Edwin Diaz is here, our ex-player. Apart from that, I don't think there is anyone there that did play for us. I'm just having a quick gander, and I'm going to say no. So Jonathan Ramirez in 2027 went from Liverpool to City. He's now 33. I mean, Colombia must have had an amazing team. How they got nowhere near a World Cup, I don't know, but that guy is crazy good. Kylian Mbappe obviously went through as is tradition, but he is not quite the leading transfer of all time, at least on the game. Obviously we had Neymar in real life, but let's not count that. De Ligt in my save and Dybala and Bernardo Silva went for between 120 to 135 million. But really, that's not as many massive transfers as I thought there would be, although a few to Manchester United, including Embolo and Kane, within a few seasons of each other. So that's fair play. They're clearly trying to bolster their front line. But that will be that. Like I said, if there's anything you do want to see, then please do comment. Let me know. If there's enough interest, I'll make another video. Although I'm just going to say it's incredibly unlikely. It's nice to see that Oss weren't completely annihilated by the AI after I departed, but by the looks of things, it looks like it might be on the way down, but I guess we will see. I've just seen that Lee Cattermole is insecure at Oxford. That's something I could perhaps look at another time, is to see what managers are in charge at various places. But yeah, if you've enjoyed that, please do smash a like and a subscribe, and keep an eye on future series we've got going on. So we've still got Newcastle, and then we'll have plenty of stuff coming up for FM19 that I'm sure you'll enjoy. But thank you very much for watching.